Welcome back to our channel. I'm Victoria and this is Vanya, and we're personal trainers at Freeform Fitness. This is the last video of our Programming for Beginners series, and we're going to tell you how to put it all together.
So the first step would be to choose your goal. Now, a lot of times when clients come to see us, their goals are fairly vague, such as just getting fit, lose some weight, or improve their performance for their sport. So it's important to kind of break it down a little bit and figure out exactly what that means to you. So for instance, getting fit, that could mean wanting to go on your hikes and be able to hike for longer without getting tired. So that means it would probably be beneficial for you to work more on building up your endurance. And if you're a golfer who wants to improve their golf swing and be able to drive that ball further, you would want to build your strength and power.
So after you have your goal decided, then you're going to use the FITT formula to figure out what the next steps are. First, you're going to figure out the frequency, how many times a week you're going to be working out, and then intensity. So this is the sets and rep ranges you're going to be working at, and then the type. So what type of training are you going to be doing? Is that endurance? Is it strength? And then last, we have time. So this is how long your workouts are going to be.
So if you want more details on how to use the FITT formula, you can check out our previous video somewhere up here. In terms of intensity, this is where you would choose the phase of training that you want to be in. Again, we have a video that explains all of this in more detail, but generally speaking, you want to decide whether you want to be focusing on developing strength, hypertrophy for building muscle, or endurance.
Next, you're going to want to select the movements that are going to be in your program. So you're going to want to include the 6 movement patterns, which we have another video with more depth on that. So those are the hinge, squat, lunge, push, pull, and carry. You'll want to include each of those exercises to ensure you have a well-rounded program. And then there's also other movements, which are called accessory movements. So these are your bicep curls, tricep extension, core exercises. So those accessory movements you would add in after the main movement patterns. So any of those 6.
How you would choose these accessory movements depends on if you have any specific areas of concern that you want to focus on. So for instance, if you just want bigger biceps, you would add in bicep curls. If you have an injury that you want to overcome, you could select exercises to strengthen that specific area.
So in your workout, you want 4 to 6 total exercises. So you want to split those between your compound movements and your accessory movements. So for your compounds, about 1 to 3, as well as your accessory movements.
So to show you how to put all of this together, we'll use an example of a client that I used to have. So this person was a long distance runner. He also cycled a lot, but he wanted to get into doing triathlons. So he wasn't much of a swimmer. So swimming and upper body strength was his weaker area. Now, what I ended up doing with him is we focused more on building strength in his upper body. And then for his lower body, with all the cycling and running that he did, he lacked a lot of mobility in his hips. So we didn't do much strength training in that area. So instead, we did more mobility work for the lower body.
So based on that client, an example of a FITT formula would be the frequency, 2 times a week working out, and then whatever other workouts he had for his triathlon training. And then for intensity, he would be in the strength and hypertrophy range. And then for the type, it would be mobility for the lower body, and cycling, running, and swimming for endurance, and then strength training for his upper body. And then his strength training workouts would be 30 minutes twice a week, whereas his other endurance activities may take an hour longer.
Since he was coming 2 times a week, how I structured his strength training workouts were one day was a pulling day, and then the second day was a pressing day. So for his pulling, I chose exercises that would develop his lats, as those muscles are what's important for swimming. So pull-ups, pull-downs, things like that. And then for pressing, we focused on the bench press. So with the strength phase, a typical set and rep range would be 5 sets of 5 reps of those main exercises. Now, we do 30-minute sessions, so since that style of training requires a lot of rest, anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes in between each set, what I did was I used his rest period as sort of like an active rest, which meant that instead of just sitting around fully resting, we took that time to work on his hip mobility. So we did things like foam rolling and various stretching exercises so that, his upper body was getting the rest that it needed, but then we were using the time effectively by working on his other needs.
So after you create your program, you're going to do the same program for 4 to 8 weeks, ensuring that you have progressive overload. If you have more questions about progressive overload, we also have a video talking about that. Essentially, what progressive overload means is that you're increasing the difficulty each week to ensure that you're getting stronger and building muscle. After the program, then it's time to reassess your progress, and you'll restart the process all over again in case your goals have changed, you want to make your exercises more difficult, or you just want to change it up.
Thanks for watching our Programming for Beginners series. Leave a comment if there's any other questions you have about strength training or exercise in general. Hit like if you've liked this video or this series, and subscribe so that you're notified whenever we have another new video coming out.